The Africans want the franchise on the basis of one man, one vote. They want political independence.
Democracy and social justice. These are the two things that South Africans had to fight for. We may never know what it's like to live in South Africa before the racial inequality was abolished. To give you a glimpse, in the early 1900s, the British Empire ruled all over of South Africa. By 1948, the white-ruled South African's Nationalist Party started a system of racial segregation known as the apartheid. This is the type of government where the rights to access public facilities and other rights, such as voting, were divided according to race. One of the people's champion that attempted to abolish this type of government was a man by the name of Nelson Mandela. In the early 1950s, Mandela, along with other activists, launched peaceful protests against the unjust laws of the apartheid. By 1953, Mandela decided that this peaceful protest were not working. He was forced to take arms and fight for change. By 1964, Nelson Mandela was convicted for threatening to overthrow the apartheid government and was sentenced to life imprisonment. He was banished to Robben Island, the island where hopes and dreams get crushed. When he arrived at the island, a warden's first words were, "This is the island where you will die." Mandela entered the prison angry, vicious, and vengeful. Whatever beliefs he had, all were threatened to be crushed by the prison's harsh conditions. But he kept on fighting, this time with his pen and paper. At that prison camp, life was tough. The jail guards treated every prisoner without dignity. They slept in a small prison cell where their only commode was one small wooden bucket. The prisoners wake up at 5:30 a.m. and are thrown into the limestone quarry to crush rocks. One time, the jail guards pushed Mandela to dig his own grave, told him to hop in and lie in there, and then they started peeing on him. To make it even harder, Mandela was granted limited access to the outside world. The prison limited Mandela to 1 full hour visit once a year from a family member and only 2 letters. One of the saddest moments of his life in prison was the death of his mother. The next shattering experience was the death of his eldest son, who died in a car accident. No matter how Mandela begged, the prison guards refused to permit him to attend either of his loved ones' funeral. This harsh treatment went on for 18 long years. But somewhere along that 18 years in Robben Island, Mandela broke his shell of anger and vengeance. Despite all adversities, a loving and forgiving leader was born. By 1990, 27 years after his imprisonment, Mandela was freed. The cause that he was fighting even during his time in prison were heard, and the government abolished the apartheid laws, and black people were allowed to vote for the first time. This led Mandela to win the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993, and at the same time, he became the president of South Africa, serving his country from 1994 to 1999. One time, he invited a prosecutor who was seeking his death penalty for dinner. He also invited the prison guards who, for 18 long years, tortured him on Robben Island to his presidential inauguration. The people were shocked by Mandela's actions. They asked him, "Why did you do that?" Mandela, with his steady voice, replied, "Without suffering, without the prison guards, without the prosecutor, there would be no Mandela."
We all go through life envisioning the ideal situations, the perfect life. We think, if I can be successful, if I can have this or achieve that, then I will become happy. We often have these standards and expectations that we lay out for ourselves, sometimes too grand or unrealistic that we couldn't keep up. So much so that if or when we hit a roadblock, we get discouraged and we give up. The reality is that life is and will always be unpredictable. It is a part of life to encounter hurdles along the way that may or may not break you or knock you down. Nevertheless, even those moments when you feel like life is unendurable or unfair, you get to learn something important. You are stronger than you could ever imagine. Remember, you are given this life because you are strong enough to live it. It is in the moments when you get plunged into the valley of darkness that you learn to be stronger, more humble, and more forgiving. Like Mandela, we all have or had moments in our life when there was no other choice than to be strong and to persevere. And you may feel like life is breaking you apart day by day. But once everything is said and done, and when you look back, you would see how the dots connect, and those moments of struggle, those moments of pain, are the ones that shaped you to be who you are. As Friedrich Nietzsche once said, one must have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. My grandma once told me a story about the potato, the egg, and the coffee bean. When the hard potato gets immersed into the boiling water, it becomes soft. For the egg that was once soft on the inside becomes hard. And the coffee beans, well, it changes the boiling water, making the water taste better and gives off its pleasant aroma. All of these three things face the same adversity, the boiling water. But only the coffee beans transformed that adversity and made it into something better. Every day, life gives us the chance to choose. For Nelson Mandela, he chose to become like the coffee beans. 27 years in prison was the boiling water that brewed him into becoming the great man we all know and admire. A man who stood up against the tyrants and fought for the freedom of a country plagued with racism and led them to abolish the apartheid government. Mandela ruled the country with forgiveness and love. So today, do you choose to become like the potato, the egg, or the coffee beans? Mandela's story teaches us that we all have our own Robben Island in our lives, something that is designed to break us down or build us up. Failures, heartbreaks, insults, labeling, and other things that could weigh us down. But it is well within our control to choose our path. As Viktor Frankl once said, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of his human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. As Nelson Mandela said, as I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead me to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Never let your past sufferings be the prison that will hold you back in becoming a better person, a person of love and kindness. Let your hard past shape you into an unstoppable force of goodness. It is not always easy, but it can be done. So move on, heal, be inspired and inspire others, and most importantly, love. And always remember that there is a Nelson Mandela in all of us, for we all have that undying human spirit that can persist despite any trials in life. So stand tall, stand proud.
Komunikasi bagi pasangan-pasangan nama kanamel.